In a world that is changing fast. In a country that is reinventing itself.
In a city that is becoming a regional education hub, we are bringing the global agenda into a local perspective.
Tech companies have so much power, they have to be held accountable. The future is arriving so fast, difficult to predict what shape it will take.
Data is not just numbers. Data is about people, and they have to be protected.
Tech is about innovation.
Tech is changing our lives.
Tech is about democracy.
Tech is the hope for our planet. This is Digital Agenda Cyprus Summit.
Please welcome on stage Mr. Ανδρέας Νεοκλέους.
Good morning, everyone. I hope we're all feeling digitally inspired. After some very good keynote speakers, we have seen what digital technology can do for us. And in this event, Digital Agenda 2019, SIDA is supporting and sponsoring the event because we believe that digital technology is something that will come in everyone's lives. I would like to thank very much the organizers of this event, because I believe that by having such events, we can all come together and bring the digital future of Cyprus much closer. And of course, a digital agenda could not be complete without including 5G. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes trying to separate the 5G hype from the reality that will be 5G. I wasn't sure how to start this presentation, but these days, mostly bad things and disasters usually start with one of these. Back in February, Donald Trump woke up in one morning and decided to write something about 5G. He urged the telecom operators of the United States to get on with it and complete their rollout of 5G. And actually, he said, why not 6G? Why 5? Well, apart from the fact that 6G doesn't exist yet, what Mr. Trump didn't know was that at the time, the US companies were only 1 month away from launching 5G. There was a race going on in the background between the United States and South Korea in order to see who would be the first to commercially launch 5G. The Americans announced 5G would be launched on the 11th of April, 2019. The Koreans announced that it would be launched on the 5th of April. When the Americans understood what was going to happen, they said, we're going to be the Koreans and we're going to be first. So they again changed the date to the 4th of April. But somehow the Koreans found out, and they managed to launch 5G on the 3rd of April, about 2 hours before the Americans did. So these 6 people that you see here are the first commercial 5G subscribers in the whole world. It's 5 Korean celebrities, plus the elderly gentleman on the middle there that is the company's longest-serving customer. Talk about rewarding customer loyalty by putting their name in the Guinness World of Records. After the launch of Korea, basically more events followed that celebrated commercial launches of 5G. In Korea, another operator demonstrated a driverless vehicle powered by 5G. There was a car without any driver that went for 20 minutes around the streets of Seoul using 5G technology. In the UK, Vodafone went with sports. They demonstrated how 5G can actually make a rugby player feel a tackle from another rugby player from another location. And in Finland, Elisa went in a more serious way, and they demonstrated a 5G video call between the Minister of Telecommunications of Finland with the Minister of Telecommunications of Estonia. But we at SIDA, we were never going to leave these show-offs without a serious response, Cyprus style. This is how it's done, Korea. So on the 4th of July this year, we launched our own pilot 5G network by dancing together with Louis Patsalidis, the most famous stand-up comedian in Cyprus, the first 5G holographic sirtaki dance in the world. Beat that. What's happening since? There are 41 5G commercial networks that are live right now. As you can see, most of them are in Europe and Middle East. There's also about 1,102 cities and towns around the world that people can commercially enjoy 5G. Cyprus is still not one of them, but we aim to complete this within 2020. Now, if we go back to our friends in Korea, what is the situation right now, following about 6 months of 5G commercial launch? If we look at the subscriber maps of all 3 Korean operators, the coverage that they are giving is quite adequate. They cover almost all of the urban areas with 5G. And what we have seen from those 3 million subscribers, the 5G subscribers that we have in Korea right now, that will eventually become 5 million by end of this year, what we have seen is that their behavior is significantly different than the behavior of the 4G subscribers. There's about 2.5 times the data consumption in 5G compared to what we are doing in 4G. So actually, people's behavior will change as soon as 5G is introduced. And this is real data from Korea. It is expected that by 2024, we're going to have 2 billion 5G mobile broadband subscriptions. And also 65% of the world is going to be covered by 5G. That's in 5 years from now. But how will 5G feel like? In order to understand better what 5G will feel like, we need to compare the experience with the previous Gs. Think of driving your car on a dirt road. This is what data access, for those who remember, this is what data access using 2G felt like, something called GPRS. You're not even sure if the road will actually take you where you want to go. 3G was a big improvement. 3G more looked like driving on a single lane road. You still couldn't run too fast, and not many people could use it at the same time, but it was a big improvement. Right now, we're experiencing 4G. 4G is like the Nicosia-Limassol motorway. So you've got 2 or 3 lanes that can actually create a very comfortable experience for everyone when they're downloading or uploading data. But how will 5G look like? This is Ontario Highway 401. It's one of the widest motorways in the whole world. It's got about 18 lanes. This is what 5G will feel like. And not only that, imagine driving on that road, but also having the rules of the German Autobahn, which actually doesn't have any speed limit. So if you combine these two, this is what 5G will feel like for everyone. Unlimited speed and enough lanes for everyone to travel. 5G will not change only our experience of usage. It will also change the way that we pay for our bills. Currently, I'm sure everyone in this room has a mobile data subscription, hopefully with SIDA, that they pay per gigabyte. And actually, it's an experience that is not very pleasant because we always have to count how much data we're using. And I know a lot of my friends are complaining all the time that their data is running out. The next step is what we call a family plan, where we pay per gigabyte, but we also can include more people in it. This is what we are having right now in Cyprus. This is what we're used to. But there is a next step that is coming with 5G. This is a new experience. It's the unlimited experience, the really unlimited experience, where people actually don't need to count how many data they have in their plans, where they pay and they have completely unlimited usage, where you don't really need to ask for Wi-Fi passwords in the coffee shops anymore, because you can use your own device without Wi-Fi connectivity. You can use your mobile data. This is a big change in people's behavior on our daily lives. I'm sure everybody is gotten used to asking Wi-Fi passwords from everywhere we go, because we don't want to spend our data plans. But this will stop because we won't care anymore. We can watch videos in the car without thinking that, oh, this is going to completely double my bill by the end of the month. There are other steps as well that will come, because I'm sure also that some of you have more than one device. I'm sure you have tablets, some of you have smartwatches, so all of these will have connections. So the next step after the unlimited for one device is going to be, okay, I will pay for as many devices I have. And finally, 5G is going to enable a service model where we will pay per service. We will pay a fee for our personal communication services, so all of the devices that we're using, plus depending on the actual service that we want to get, we can pay for our smart home connectivity, connected car, security, health monitoring, etc. All of these services, they will have connectivity installed within them, and we will pay for the service which will include the connectivity. It's a bright future for companies like SIDA who are in telecoms, and this connectivity is going to be part of what we're going to provide to our customers. But there's a dark side that I'm sure you have heard of about 5G. If you look in YouTube right now and you put the word 5G, what you're going to see is a lot of videos. Among the technological videos, you're going to see a lot of videos like these ones. It was amazing, actually, for me to discover what people are actually saying about 5G. Danger, caution, weaponry. My favorite is 5G apocalypse. It's very confusing for everyone that doesn't have a PhD in telecommunications engineering to figure out what exactly is 5G and why it might be harmful to the health, as those people are saying. I will try to clear some of the confusion in the next few slides. This is a basic telecommunications lesson. This is the electromagnetic frequency spectrum. What you can see here are all the radio waves, all of the frequencies from the low to the high frequencies. Right there on the right, you can see the daylight, which is the visible light that we see. Everything that we see is electromagnetic waves, and everything that we don't see is also electromagnetic waves. Now, on the right of the visible light, you've got the bad guys. You've got what we call the ionizing radiation, which are the X-rays, the gamma rays, and the ultraviolet rays, which are used in tanning beds. These are the bad guys. They're the bad guys. Why? Because they have enough energy and they alter DNA and they cause cancer. So ionizing radiation is dangerous, and it's proven to be dangerous. On the left of the visible spectrum, you've got what we call the non-ionizing radiation. I'm getting a little bit technical, but please bear with me for another couple of minutes. The non-ionizing radiation doesn't have enough energy to alter DNA and doesn't cause cancer. So all of the applications that you see on the left, they are using this type of radiation. And 5G is not going to be any different. If we look at what we are currently using at SIDA for mobile communication on 2G, 3G, and 4G, we use that band over there, which is from 0.8 to 2.6 gigahertz. Now, 5G, the way that the government is planning to launch it in Cyprus is that they're going to use two frequency bands that are exactly adjacent to the bands that we're using. So nothing special. But there's a lot of discussion about a third frequency band, the 26 gigahertz, which is over there, and that's the one that people are saying that something's wrong about this because this is a higher frequency. You can see where it is. it is still in the non-ionizing radiation, but it is higher. But what does that mean? If we look at the radiation limits that we are allowed to experience today, what we have is that we have limits that have been set by the International Commission of Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. This is a commission that is formally recognized by the World Health Organization. So what they've said is that if we have a limit of 100, which above that the radiation is harmful, we're going to set limits for people much, much lower than that. So for the workers that actually deal with this radiation, we're going to put a limit of 10. So if 100 is dangerous, the limit is 10 for the people who work close to radiation. And for the public, we're going to be even stricter. We're going to put a limit of 2. That's 1/50th of the dangerous limit. Now, if you go and you use a magnifying lens to see exactly what's happening in that 2, in the limit of 2, actually, the exposure levels that we have right now and that we are going to continue to have in the coming years is 0.02. So this is where we are right now. We're at 1/5,000 of the dangerous limit. We are extremely, extremely far from anything that can be considered dangerous. This is from the World Health Organization website. What they have said is that the main conclusion from the WHO reviews is that EMF exposures below the limits recommended in the ICNIRP international guidelines do not appear to have any known consequence on health. The European Union is fully adopting this approach, and all of the limits of the European Union is suggesting they follow the same approach. There's a few more things that I need to say about this subject. First of all, comparing mobile phone radiation with antenna radiation. On average, mobile phone radiation is about 100 to 1,000 times more than the mean radiation we're getting from the antennas. In fact, 90% of an individual's exposure to radiation, it comes from their mobile phone. Remember that 26 gigahertz frequency? Well, the waves on that frequency, because it's a higher frequency, they don't travel much. They travel over much shorter distances, and they can't penetrate through things like walls or trees. So one would need to deploy a different type of antennas to cover the area that they need to cover. So if you're used to seeing this type of antennas, actually, this is something that will change gradually into something like this. These are the antennas of the future, the antennas that will actually be much smaller, lower in power, and they will not have as much radiation as the ones that we are having right now. A current antenna tower can transmit a signal over 2-3 kilometers. The small antenna would just go only a few hundred meters. So one other important development that comes from this is that actually, because our phones are going to be closer to the antennas, they're going to be operating on much lower power. So that means that the radiation that we get from our phones, which is 90% of the radiation we're getting in total, is going to be much less. Final point about this. Telecom operators do not like to have many networks. It's very costly. So when we're going to roll out 5G, immediately then, we're going to start looking into decommissioning the 2G and 3G networks. So eventually, the number of networks is not going to increase. The number of networks will decrease. We aim to have only 4G and 5G in 2 or 3 years from now. So this is something that eventually will drive the radiation levels down instead of up. People are talking about Industrial Revolution 4.0. It's a buzzword. This revolution is not coming because of a single technology advancement. It's not coming because of 5G. There are several forces that are maturing and we're lucky for that. They're maturing at the same time. We're talking about connectivity, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, smart materials, alternative energy technology, a lot of things that can actually be ingredients of a larger context revolution like the fourth industrial revolution. It is the combinational effects of these forces that will unleash an era of exponential innovation. And what about 5G? How does 5G fit into this? I would like to concentrate on 3 benefits for 5G for consumers and 1 benefit that is mostly for operators, but will eventually end up in consumers' lives. 3 + 1 benefits. Obviously, number 1, faster speeds. 5G is set to be much, much faster than previous generation networks. Some are saying as much as 100 times faster than existing 4G networks. This would mean that the ability to download a full high-definition movie is going to be under 10 seconds in a 5G network, compared to more than 10 minutes on 4G. I'm sure everyone has currently gone through an experience where they're in a big stadium or a concert and they're trying to access the network and get on the internet or post something on social media, but because there are so many people in that stadium, they cannot get through. Big events with thousands of people in attendance, they put a huge stress on mobile networks. With 5G just around the corner, there is a solution to this problem. Because 5G can provide 1 million connections per square kilometer. So this problem is completely solved. The last benefit of the 3 is the lower latency. The latency is the delay of the network to respond to any click that we do. 5G will be reacting to user commands in less than 1 millisecond. That means practically in real time. And this will allow a whole new industry of applications based on zero latency to emerge. Things like smarter surgeries, where we can plan every move, the doctors can plan every move that they're going to make before the first incision has been made. We're going to learn in a different way. We're going to go beyond the classroom, and we're going to bring ideas to life using special applications by 5G. And also, we can travel everywhere we want and do whatever we need with anyone we want with some technology based on 5G. The last thing I want to say about the benefits of 5G is something called network slicing. Network slicing allows operators to break the network into different pieces. So we could have a slice of the network that is going to be used for consumers, for example, when they're browsing the internet. What do those consumers need? They need speed and they need capacity. We're going to make a network specially for those consumers. But also, we can have a different network for connected cars. Connected cars need more reliability. So what we're going to be able to do is we're going to design networks that are optimized for the actual needs of the people that are going to use it. What are the things that I would like you to keep about 5G? There's 3 basic things, if I could concentrate on those 3. The first one is that it's already here. You have seen that we have millions of subscribers in the rest of the world. It's coming to Cyprus as well, sometime in 2020. So it's here. It is not a question of whether it's going to come or if it's going to come. It's going to be here. The technology is significantly superior. There are very big differences between 5G technologically and 4G. But we're still not sure what exactly we're going to do with that technology. The market will create the demand, and the technology will just be a tool, together with everything else that is going around on the fourth industrial revolution, that will create new use cases for everyone to use 5G. And unfortunately, for some people, it is not a 5G apocalypse. Actually, our expectations of the radiation levels following the launch of 5G is that it's going to be less radiation than what we're currently having. Thank you very much for your attention.